Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. Hey, tonight we are making something super simple. Now, I know I've said that before and we've had several steps, but this is super simple. It's chicken and rice. But now my recipe calls it chicken on Sunday, and it's not Sunday. But this is a recipe that we have used for as long as I can remember. And let me start mixing it and I'll tell you the story. We're going to start with 3 cans of soup. We've got cream of mushroom soup, cream of chicken soup, and cream of celery soup. So let me get those into our bowl. When we would get ready to go and hunt for our Christmas trees, that's the only way we used to get them. When I was a little girl, we'd go out and cut them down. And there was some property in Lavaca that my dad knew the people that owned it. We'd go there. Anyway, Mother would put this dish in the oven because it cooks low and it cooks for 2.5 hours. So she would put it in the oven and we would go and pick out our Christmas tree and then come home and have this delicious dish. So that's where it started. Where she got it, I'm not really sure, but this was such a long time ago and so many sweet memories. Listen, this is super basic and you can probably add things to it. I'm kind of a stickler because I just do what it says. I've tried putting vegetables in it, but I've put them in probably too early and they got a little mushy. So I just like to do anything I'm going to do on the side. Okay, we've got our 3 cans of soup in here, and then it just calls for 2 cans of water. So instead of running over there and filling the cans, I know those cans are 10.5 ounces, so here's 21 ounces of water. We're just going to mix that in here. Let me use my little whisk to kind of get that broken up. Anyway, this is something that you can modify. You know, we've talked about this before. I know I've mentioned it. I'm a realtor, and I like to be in the office just about every morning to work on paperwork and things, but then sometimes I may not have anything to do till later in the evening when people get off work. So that gives me the afternoon to come home, get something in the oven, or decide what we're going to have for dinner. And then I can adjust my timing on this and know that in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, when I get home, chicken and rice will be ready. Okay, to this mixture of soups, we're not going to add any salt because, for one, I'm going to dip it in butter. It's salted butter, but each one of those soups has a little bit of salt in it. We don't need any. So this is going to call for 1.5 cups of a long grain rice, which, because it's going to cook for a long time, just holds up really well. And it makes a really nice rice. It'll be delicious. Mix that all up. So I'm looking forward to this. I think what I'm going to try this evening, because it is a 250 for 2.5 hours. That's the way we do it when we're going to be out. Tonight, I got a little experiment here. I'm going to do 400 for an hour. We're going to see how that works. Because I don't have any place to go tonight. That would be the reason I would time it out. All right, this goes in this casserole dish. I did spray this a little bit just to make sure everything comes out. So let's get this, pour this in here. We're just going to get our rice and soups all in here. Then we're going to get our chicken on top. And I think that's what makes the rice even better, that those juices from that chicken cook in this rice and soak down in there, make it even better. Okay, that's the end of that. I wanted to show y'all something a little bit funny. You know, my husband and I live here. But when all of this started in March and people were so afraid that we were going to run out of food in the stores, I bought this. There's 2 people here. So I may have rice until 2025. But anyway, nobody knew what to expect, did we? I thought I was doing something good. And I guess, you know, rice doesn't go bad, I guess. So we'll have it for a long time. Okay, in this casserole comes our chicken. I like to trim my chicken back pretty good. I don't like any, you know, fat or anything on it. So I trim it back pretty good. Got my butter, got my chicken. This is going to be thighs and breast. You just dip it in the butter, place it on here. I think I will hit it with just a little bit of pepper before I put it in the oven. But I'm serious. This is all there is to it. And it will make a huge amount of food. This just calls for 8 pieces of chicken. You know, you could always double the rice or do whatever if you're cooking for a large crowd. But it is so good. I tell you that we eat leftovers on this. My mom will see this. She'll expect some chicken and rice, but that's okay. We like to share, no problem. Pay it forward. I think I have just decided I'm just going to do one breast. I like my chicken, you know, smaller. I don't like the big, thick breast. Like this is a regular chicken breast. I just don't like to cook them that thick. I know that probably keeps them a lot moister, but we just like the texture of a thinner slice of chicken. All right, that's going to be my 8 pieces of chicken. I'm going to hit this with just a little bit of pepper. Let me get my gloves off. This is another thing. There's shortage on gloves, which I get it. Hey, if someone in the medical field's needing the gloves way more than me, and I get it. But I do like to just wear gloves in the kitchen. I'll go tomorrow to a couple of different places and look. They were just out where we checked today. But this is it. And I'm going to, my recipe calls for, like I said, 250 for 2.5 hours. I've done that plenty of times because that just gives me a long time to be away from the house. And then you know when you come back, you smell it when you open that door, dinner's ready. We're just going to move it up a little bit, heat the oven up a little bit, and get this done a little bit quicker. So, I'm going to stick it in the oven. I'll see you back here in just a little over an hour, and we'll put our dinner plate together. So, I'll see you in just a little bit. You know what time it is? It's time to eat. Listen, this dish looks fabulous. I did it for an hour at 400. So, don't tell my mom I didn't use the recipe exactly. But you can kind of modify it. Use it however long you need it to be in the oven. I know everything's done. I've checked the temperature of the chicken and the rice looks perfect. So, all we're going to do, I have put just a little bit of parsley on the top that I've still had to buy because my plants aren't back in. We're going to just set out little chicken and rice on a plate. I cut these pretty small, so a couple of pieces of chicken might be what you want to go with. I also just did a little okra, quick fried little okra. Thought that'd be good. That'll be kind of our green, even though it's kind of fried. And then just a salad. You know, I always feel good when we have a salad at dinner because it just seems like you got little extra leafy greens in there. So anyway, that's what's for dinner this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll make it. Another thing, most people love this dish. This is always a good one to take if you need to take to somebody that needs a little pick-me-up. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you'll try it. And we're going to sit down, tea's on the table and dressing, and we're going to eat.